Discover the incredible life-changing moment when I sold our home while my daughter was away. David's heart raced as he stood at the edge of his modest yard, fingers trembling against the weathered fence. The Chicago skyline loomed in the distance, a bittersweet reminder of everything he wanted to give his daughter, Lily. It felt like a betrayal to even consider parting with their home, a sanctuary where laughter and love danced through the air. Memories of his late wife, a proud veteran who cherished their American dream, wrapped tightly around him, suffocating and comforting all at once. Now, as bills piled like fallen leaves and his savings dwindled to nothing, selling their beloved house wasn't just a real estate transaction, it felt like he was selling a piece of himself. Lily was a bright senior, ready to face the world with an internship in the city. He didn't want to shatter her dreams. Every night, he worked 3 grueling jobs, his hands worn, heart heavy with worry. As his sleepless nights turned into full-on panic, David met potential buyers who, like him, shared tales of struggle and sacrifice. In his neighbors' kitchens and living rooms, their conversations revealed a web of hardship. Each home had its own story, but the themes remained: constant loss, resilience, and hidden hopes that echoed in David's own heart. With each visit, as he chatted with these strangers turned confidants, a flicker of hope ignited within him. Yet, time passed, and the threat of selling their home loomed larger. Clenching his fists, he felt like he was teetering over a precipice, caught between the infuriating grip of financial despair and Lily's unwavering belief in their shared dreams. Just when his resolve hung by a thread, he stumbled upon a letter tucked away in Lily's room, her handwriting dancing across the page. With a mix of excitement and apprehension, he read her words. "Dad, no matter where we live, our home is us. You taught me that it's not about the walls, but the love within them." Tears filled David's eyes as the weight of her wisdom sank in. She was right. Home wasn't just bricks and mortar, it was love, memory, and the bond they shared. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Determined to honor that bond, David stood at the door, heart racing as he waited for Lily to come home. How could he unveil the possibility of a sale when he wasn't even sure how he felt himself? The thought made his chest tighten. Would this strain their relationship? Where would they be if they had to say goodbye to their memories and this sanctuary of warmth? With every creak of the old door, hope battled worry within him. And then Lily stepped inside, her radiant smile hitting him like a ray of sunshine, warming the cold uncertainty that had wrapped around his heart. What would he say? Could love truly redefine what home meant for them? As the door swung wide, sunlight poured in, glowing around Lily like a halo. David's heart swelled at the sight of her, and for a moment, the looming weight of decisions melted away. She tossed her bags to the side and leaped into his arms, her laughter ringing out, a melody he hadn't realized he needed. "Dad. You want to believe the city? It's so alive." He squeezed her tight, wishing to hold on to this warmth, this moment forever. Yet, as she pulled back, her smile grew curious, studying his face as if she could sense the storm brewing beneath the surface. "What's going on? You look different." The words hung heavy in the air. David opened his mouth, searching for the right words, the right moment. He felt like he was standing on a tightrope. "It's just work's been rough, sweetie." "You know how it goes," he lied, the familiar knot in his stomach tightening. Lily went to the kitchen, her eyes sparkling with dreams of city life. She gushed about the busy streets and the vibrant energy, sharing stories with hands flailing in excitement. David listened, his heart both soaring and sinking. He wondered if she would still have that joy if she learned their home was slipping away. When she paused, her brow furrowed. "What's for dinner?" "Your favorite, of course." He scrambled to keep things normal, pulling ingredients from the fridge, each clang of pots echoing the fear in his heart. As they cooked together, David couldn't shake the feeling that time was slipping away. Would it be different if he revealed the truth while they laughed over pasta? Or would it destroy the very foundation they were building upon? "Dad," she said, stirring the sauce, her voice steady and soft. "You know I'll always be here for you, right? I mean, whatever happens, whatever you have to face." The warmth of her words wrapped around him, yet the cold grip of reality tightened its hold. With a lump in his throat, he turned to face her. "Lily, there is something important we need to talk about." Her laughter faded, replaced by an uneasy silence. The clatter of the spoon in the pot was deafening, like thunder in a quiet room. In that moment, David's resolve wavered. The joy that had filled the home felt fragile, like glass hanging by a thread. Could he shatter it all with a single sentence? "Is it about?" she started slowly, eyes searching his face, "the house?" His heart sank at her intuition. "Yeah, we need to consider that this may not be where we can stay much longer." A shadow crossed her face, her eyes betraying the spark that once brightened them. "What do you mean?" David steadied himself, determined to protect her heart while balancing his own. "I mean, sometimes we have to make tough decisions for a better future." But even as he spoke, panic gnawed at him. What if he was wrong? Lily took a deep breath, her composure shaking. "But Dad, this is home. Aren't we a team? We can figure this out together, right?" Tears filled David's eyes. Was he failing her? Should he have said something earlier? With every heartbeat, David realized that this sealing moment was not about just the house, it was about everything that home represented, the love they built within those walls. "I need you to know that whatever happens," he said, voice soft but firm, "we'll be okay together." But would they? For a moment, the air stood still, thick with unspoken fears and hopes. She needed to hear him, but all he could manage was the echo of uncertainty. As Lily looked away, her expression clouded, it hit him hard. Was he protecting her, or was he holding them both hostage to fear? David took a shaky breath, bracing himself for what was to come. "Do you believe we can find another home, with love?" he asked, a plea piercing through the air. "Will we have to?" she whispered, vulnerability cracking her voice. "I in that kitchen." A choice hung like the scent of the simmering sauce. Could they redefine home, or would the world outside swallow their dreams whole? And in that haunting moment, David knew life was about to change forever. Would he find the courage to lead them into the unknown, even if it shattered everything they thought they knew? David's heart raced as he observed the change in Lily's expression. That spark of curiosity was slowly dimming, replaced by the heavy load of uncertainty. His world felt like it was closing in, and the walls of their kitchen, usually vibrant and full of life, now seemed constricting. He couldn't help but wonder if he had made a grave mistake by not preparing her better. Maybe. Lily's voice trailed off, the hope in her words faltering. She turned away, staring out the kitchen window, the evening sun casting long shadows on the backyard. "What if we can't find a place?" He felt her fear radiate through the air, sharp and piercing. She was grappling with the idea of loss, tagging it to her sense of security in ways he hadn't anticipated. "Lily," he said gently, inching closer to her. "It's just a house. We're a family, and family is what matters most. Right?" She didn't respond, her silence echoing in his ears. Seeing her distant demeanor pulled at something deep inside him, awareness washing over him like a cold wave. How many times had they fought to stay connected in tumultuous times? Now, he feared this might be too big for them to tackle, even together. "Remember when we watched that movie about the family that traveled the country in an RV?" he recalled, trying to spark some joy. "They made memories everywhere they went. You loved that." I remember. Her voice was a whisper, but that tiny flicker of recognition was a lifeline. "So, what if we think of it like that?" He knew it wasn't the same, but he needed to grab hold of any glimmer of hope. "Maybe this is our chance to discover new places and new adventures." Her gaze slowly shifted back to him, betraying a hint of that youthful excitement he loved. "You think traveling would be fun?" "It doesn't have to be just traveling," he replied, sensing the tiniest crack in her sadness. It could mean finding somewhere new to call home, where we can grow and make memories. Just like we've always done. A teardrop rolled down her cheek, but she smiled faintly. But, Dad, I like it here. And I do too, he confessed, tears blurring his vision. This is where we built so much together. But sometimes change is part of life. And I promise I will do my best to make sure wherever we go, it remains our home. Chiefs of emotion roiled within him, battling against a backdrop of hope. Would they really be able to recreate that bond, that safe haven? He believed they could, but doubt clung to him like a shadow. Would it really be okay? She asked, biting her lip as if searching for reassurance. It will be, he insisted, reaching for her hand. A connection sparked, and the warmth between them felt somewhat comforting. Together, we can face anything. You're my daughter, and whatever we encounter, we'll do it side by side. That's our adventure. They locked eyes, and for a fleeting moment, he felt her heart ease into acceptance. But deep down, both of them knew that this was merely the beginning. As the evening unfolded, they sat down together for dinner, and David immersed himself in the memories of laughter and love, desperately hoping to drown out the fears lurking in the corners of his mind. But that night, as sleep eluded him and the weight of the future loomed, a thought nagged at him. What if leaving this house wasn't just about changing their address, but about reshaping everything they understood about themselves, their resilience, and the love that defined them? Morning would bring new challenges, decisions that could shape their very core. What would that look like? And with that restless thought, he felt the world shift beneath his feet. Tomorrow, they would navigate uncharted territory, together, but could it truly lead them to a brighter place? The sun broke through the curtains with a bright urgency, casting stripes of gold across the kitchen floor. David stood at the counter, coffee brewing behind him, the bubbling sound nearly drowned out by his pounding heart. He was trying to shake off the anxiety that clung to him like a heavy blanket. Today was not just another day, it would usher in an avalanche of decisions. Lily shuffled in, her eyes still heavy with sleep. "Morning, Dad," she mumbled, the words slurring slightly as she stifled a yawn. "Good morning, sunshine," he replied, forcing a smile. She didn't return it. Instead, she peered out the window, taking in the familiar view that now felt so uncertain. The backyard, slathered in dew, looked innocent enough, but the serenity belied the changes they were about to face. "Can we go to the park today?" Lily asked, her voice small with a hint of hope. David hesitated. The park had always been their haven, filled with spontaneous laughter and freedom. "What do you say we grab some breakfast first, and then we figure it out?" She nodded slowly, nibbling on her bottom lip as if she were weighing the words before she spoke. As they settled at the table with their toast and scrambled eggs, Lily's gaze remained distant. "Are you really sure about this move?" she asked softly, breaking the silence that had enveloped them like fog. The question hung in the air. "I want to be," he finally said, and the uncertainty trickled into his voice. "It's a chance for us, but I know it's hard." Her eyes narrowed a bit, frustration peeking through. "But what if it isn't? What if it's worse?" "Change can be scary," he replied, feeling heat rise in his chest. "But it can also be exciting. Think of all the new places, new friends, adventures. Can't we give it a shot?" Lily crossed her arms, her stubbornness flaring. "Just because you're excited doesn't mean I have to be. I like it here. My friends are here." The pang of her words hit him. He remembered her laughter in the backyard, the way she would chase fireflies each summer night. "And I love that. But what if we find somewhere even better?" The crestfallen look on her face told him she wasn't ready to embrace such a thought. He felt selfish, dragging her along on this journey when she just wanted to stay rooted in familiarity. After breakfast, they decided to take a walk to the park. David hoped that maybe some fresh air would lighten the mood, awaken the spirit of adventure he knew lay within her. When the wind rustled through the trees, he could almost hear whispers of hope, yet, as they reached the park, the weight of reality settled back heavily. Parents pushing strollers, kids on swings, laughter echoing in the bright blue sky. It felt like a scene already steeped in memory. See? Lily said, her disappointment clear. This is what I want. I don't want to leave this. David knelt beside her, softening his stance. I don't want to leave this either. But maybe there are beautiful things waiting for us, some just aren't visible yet. Lily looked into his eyes, searching for answers. What if it's not? What if it's just worse? There it was again, the nagging fear that cut through him. What if? The question trailed like a shadow, darkening the sunny day. In the distance, a child climbed quickly up the slide, and for a moment, he felt a rush of nostalgia suffuse the air. Memories floated before him like leaves in the wind. Can we at least give it time? He suggested, though he wasn't convinced himself. She sighed, staring down at her shoes, while the weight of their shared anxiety hung between them like a fragile thread. The clock was ticking down to their new beginning, but here in the present, it was variable with uncertainty. Before he could think, he said, Lily, no matter what happens, we'll face it together. I promise. And suddenly, the question loomed larger than ever. Could promises made in moments of hope carry them through the fractures of fear when the time came? How could they forge ahead into the unknown without losing the essence of what had once been? As they turned to leave, David felt a tense knot tighten in his stomach. What awaited them on the other side of this daunting journey? All he knew was that the road ahead wasn't just about bricks and walls, it was about the endless possibilities of love, discovery, and maybe heartbreaking goodbyes. Lily fell silent as they walked through the park, her small hands tucked deep into her pockets. David could feel the tension in her, thick and unyielding, like a storm cloud waiting to burst. The laughter of children felt distant, muffled beneath the weight of their unsaid words. He looked down at her, his heart aching at the lost laughter they usually shared. This wasn't the day he had envisioned for them. It wasn't supposed to feel so heavy. "Wanna sit for a bit?" he asked, motioning toward a nearby bench. She nodded, the movement almost imperceptible. As they settled in, the sun warmed their faces, but a chill lingered between them. Remember the swings? David prompted, trying to draw her into a happier memory. How we would swing so high, trying to reach the sky. Lily's eyes flickered, a glimmer of the girl who loved the playground still trapped inside. We always said we could touch the clouds. She smiled faintly, but it quickly vanished, replaced by worry. Are we really doing this, Dad? At that moment, he understood that this was more than a house or a new town for her. It was childhood in its entirety, her friends, the firefly chases, the scent of summer. It all felt threatened, and he couldn't blame her for caring so deeply. He wanted to be the rock she needed, but he was feeling the waves crash against him too. Lily, his words faltered. He didn't want to sound weak, but the truth hovered heavily in his throat. I'm scared too. She turned to him, her surprise clear. You're scared? Yes, he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. I built a whole life here, and leaving makes me feel like I'm tearing apart parts of myself. That doesn't make it easier. She shot back, her frustration bubbling over. I know. David's heart raced, their exchange felt like a battle, yet it was necessary. I know it's hard. But sometimes, to find what we want, we have to step out of the things we already have. Lily looked away, studying the ground beneath her. What if stepping out means losing what I love? Her honesty hit him hard. How could he promise her something he wasn't sure of? I can't promise you that. But I can promise we'll try to find something beautiful together. We'll share it. We'll navigate through it as a team. She glanced back at him, her eyes wide and searching. What if we don't? What if I hate it? He could feel the weight of her fear echo within his own. Then we'll make a new plan. One step at a time. Just like we did when we moved here. Lily's brow furrowed. But this is different. Yes, it is. He threaded his fingers through his hair, wrestling with the depth of her words. What if it was different? What if everything changed and shattered their bond? But remember the camping trip last summer? We were terrified setting up that tent. Neither of us knew what we were doing. But we learned and laughed despite the obstacles. A slight smile returned to her face as she recalled their stilted laughter. That was kind of fun. Right. We can find fun again, as long as you promise to be patient with me too. Maybe she would see the potential in the new experiences ahead. He could only hope. They sat in silence for a moment, the sun warming their shoulders, casting a glow over the park. Okay, Lily finally said, a hesitant sincerity threading her words. I'll try, I guess. David let out a breath he didn't know he was holding, a sense of relief washing over him. That's all I ask. But as they rose from the bench, an unwelcome thought crashed into his mind. They were due to leave in just a few days, and he hadn't yet told her the biggest truth of all, that their home, the one blooming with memories, had already been sold. Lily, he hesitated again, the looming weight of the truth casting a shadow over their small moment of positivity. What is it, Dad? Her simple question dangled in the air, heavy with expectation. He swallowed hard, knowing that this revelation would test the fragile bond they had just reaffirmed. The fear in his heart returned, pulsating in his chest. Could they endure the next wave ahead? There's something I need to tell you. And in that moment, amid the rustling leaves and laughter echoing around them, the conversation shifted toward a horizon neither of them saw coming. David took a deep breath, the weight of his unspoken words pushing down on him like a heavy fog. He needed to tell her, but how? The bright laughter of children playing nearby felt like a cruel reminder of the innocence that was slipping away. Lily, remember how we talked about moving? He stalled, his voice faltering. Things are well, they've changed. She tilted her head, her eyes narrowing with confusion. What do you mean? Are we still going? Yes, we are. But it's going to happen a lot sooner than I thought. He paused, the words sticking like honey in his throat. The house, our house, it's been sold. Silence stretched between them, thickening the air like a rope tying their hearts together. The sounds from the playground faded, leaving only the sound of rustling leaves around them. Lily's face fell, surprise morphing into disbelief. Sold? She echoed, her voice barely a whisper. You sold it? Without telling me? He was taken aback by her tone. I didn't want to burden you. I thought what? That I wouldn't care? Her voice cracked, an edge of hurt slicing through the air. It was our home. I know. Pain twisted in his chest as he looked into her eyes, brimming with emotion. But it was taking too long, and I had to make a decision. I thought it would help us move on faster, he explained, desperation creeping into his voice. So we can just move on? Like it's that easy? She squeezed her eyes shut, clenching her fists. You think selling the house makes everything okay? He felt as if the ground beneath him was shifting. Lily, please. I thought it would make the transition smoother for us. She opened her eyes, and he could see the pain reflected in them. You should have talked to me. This was my life too. I had friends, memories. You took that away without asking what I wanted. Each word felt like a punch to his gut. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I was trying to protect you, he said softly, his heart breaking at the sight of his daughter in distress. Protect me? It feels like you're just tearing everything apart. She wiped her eyes, the hint of anger morphing into deep hurt. I don't want to move anymore. I don't want to go anywhere. David wanted to reach out and comfort her, but he hesitated, knowing he had fumbled this moment. I didn't anticipate how you would react. Lily, we will make new memories. I promise. But what if I don't want new memories? She challenged, crossing her arms defiantly. What if I just want my old life back? He felt a crack forming in his heart. I want that for you too, sweetheart, I really do. The weight of his decision settled heavily on his shoulders. But sometimes we must let go of the old to make space for the new. It doesn't mean the old wasn't special. Their worlds felt fragile, as if the slightest breath could break the bond they'd been fighting to maintain. Lily stared straight ahead, her face pale as if all joy had been drained away. I don't want to lose you too, he admitted, his voice trembling with vulnerability. She turned to him, her expression softening ever so slightly, but the fear lingered behind her eyes. You want to lose me. But I don't know what's going to happen next. They sat in silence, the park buzzing with life around them, while their hearts wrestled with the unanswered questions that loomed ahead. Can we go home? She finally asked, her voice small. Of course. He stood, holding out a hand, fighting to keep hope alive. We can talk more there. As they made their way through the park, an unsettling feeling settled in his stomach. Striding forward, he couldn't shake the thought that this uprooting might be only the beginning of a greater storm. What other truths lay hidden beneath the surface, waiting to complicate their journey ahead? Would they face this challenge together, or would it fracture the bond they were trying to restore? As they walked home, the weight of Lily's silence pressed hard against David. Her tiny hand felt cold in his as they moved past familiar sights: the old oak tree where they had picnicked, the ice cream shop where they had celebrated her birthday last year. Now, each place felt like a ghost of their former happiness, echoing the laughter they had shared. Can we stop by the shop? Lily suddenly asked, her voice still small but with a flicker of hope. Sure, if you want, he replied, grateful for any glimmer of normalcy. They took a detour, and as they approached, the bright colors of the shop's sign felt like a warm invitation, yet his heart sank. Would she even want to step inside again, knowing it was all about to change? Inside, the sweet smell of waffle cones filled the air. Lily's eyes darted around, searching for something familiar. I'll have mint chocolate chip, she declared, and the familiar request, though small, felt like a victory. David smiled and ordered one for himself too, momentarily forgetting their troubles in the creamy delight of the treat. As they sat outside on the steps, Lily eagerly took a bite, the chilled mint ice cream causing a smile to break through the tension. Remember when I made a mint chocolate chip sundae at home? She asked, her eyes sparkling with a blush of happiness. He chuckled, memories flooding back of the chaotic kitchen, the laughter, the spills. You insisted it was the best sundae anyone could have. It was, she said, puffing up with pride, and for that fleeting moment, it felt like everything would be all right. But the truth still loomed, casting shadows in his mind. Lily, he began cautiously, unsure how to navigate the conversation, I know things feel really out of control right now. I want you to know it's okay to feel upset. Her eyes met his, a mix of defiance and worry in them. I don't want to talk about it, she replied, pulling her knees up to her chest, the ice cream forgotten. He sighed, understanding that pushing wouldn't help. Instead, he changed the subject, letting their memories stoke the fire of their bond. Do you remember our first camping trip? You insisted on bringing every stuffed animal with you? This time, a laugh bubbled up from her, brightening her features. I left Mr. Turtle Bear behind. I thought you wouldn't let me bring so many. The ease of nostalgia enveloped them, but it didn't last long before a chill nudged at David's heart. Everything was going to change, and he didn't want to lose these moments to fear. As they finished their ice cream, he took the leap to broach the subject once more. What do you think the new place will be like? Her brows knitted together, uncertainty dimming her smile. I wish I knew. What if it's not fun? What if it just sucks? He felt her doubt coursing through him like a wave. I promise you it won't be like that. We'll create new special memories, just give it time. She nodded, though her gaze drifted elsewhere, caught in her own thoughts. David reached out, tucking a stray hair behind her ear. I'm not going anywhere, all right? We'll always be a team. Okay, she whispered, but even then, he knew the shadows loomed large in her heart. After they finished, they headed into the cool shade of the evening as dusk began to settle in. The sky transformed into a canvas of oranges and purples, but the beauty felt out of place. As they neared home, David's heart raced. He feared the challenges still ahead, even more revelations that could shift their fragile bond. What if they weren't ready for what was coming? What other decisions loomed thick in the air, unsettled, waiting to challenge their resolve? Walking through the door, he took a deep breath, feeling the familiar warmth wash over him. Little did he know, tonight would bring more than just memories. It would unravel a truth he had tried so hard to keep hidden. What secrets might emerge when the night fell, and silence seeped into their hearts? The moment they stepped into the house, a stillness fell around them, almost palpable. The familiar sense of their home, the faint aroma of cinnamon from last week's baking, and the comforting waft of fresh laundry wrapped around David like a warm blanket, but it couldn't quite mask the heavier atmosphere that engulfed the room. "Why don't you go get ready for bed, sweet pea?" David suggested, his voice softer than he intended. Lily nodded, but as she turned to walk down the hall, he could feel her uncertainty hanging in the air between them. He leaned against the kitchen counter, the tension in his shoulders creeping up towards his neck. How had it come down to this? The thought of packing up their lives and leaving everything they had built together made his chest ache. Memories of laughter-filled days mingled with a sense of dread about their imminent relocation. As he contemplated his next move, his phone buzzed on the counter, breaking his thoughts. It was a text from Jenna, his ex-wife. Just a reminder about their plans tomorrow to finalize the arrangement for Lily's move. Each word felt like a heavy stone dropping into his stomach. The sale, the transition, the unknown, it felt too real, too soon. David took a deep breath, feeling the air squeeze painfully in his lungs. He wanted to make this easier on Lily, but he had a sinking feeling that nothing could prepare her for what was about to unfold. He glanced down the hallway, where shadows danced under the soft glow of her bedroom light. "Dad?" Lily's voice carried lightly through the air, interrupting his spiraling thoughts. "Yeah? Can I have a story tonight? Just like old times?" Her request filled him with a bittersweet warmth, pulling at the strings of nostalgia. "Of course. Which one do you want?" "I want the one about the dragon and the magic tree," she called back, her excitement seeping through the walls, cutting into David's uncertainty. With a reluctant smile, he made his way to her room. The walls were still decorated with posters of unicorns and stars, remnants of her childhood shining in the dim light. He sat on the edge of her bed, the fabric worn and soft. As he began to tell the familiar tale, he could see her eyes brighten, and for a moment, reality faded away, but the words were laced with a heaviness he couldn't fully shake. As he finished the story, Lily's small voice echoed in the silence. "Do you really think it will be okay?" David's heart tightened. "I do. We'll figure it out together, just like we always do. Promise?" Her small hand reached out, seeking reassurance, and he took it in his. "I promise." But even as the words left his mouth, he could feel the weight of his own doubts clinging to him. She nodded, her little fists squeezing his hand for comfort as though it were a lifeline. Okay. As they sat in silence, he felt the tightrope of emotional balance they were walking on. His little girl was on the cusp of something big and scary, and he was her anchor. But how could he explain that he was just as lost? Once tucked in, David lingered for a moment, watching her as she closed her eyes, surrendering to a world woven together by dreams. Love swelled in his chest, but with it came fear. He stepped back, ready to retreat to the living room, each step echoing the weight of his secrets. Tonight would be different, he knew. He intended to tell her everything. The details of their move had been heavy on his heart, but the truth about why he sold the home while she was away weighed just as much, a truth that threatened to unravel the binding thread of their relationship. As he sat down, he stared at the walls around him, echoing every joyful moment lived within them. Shadows danced in the dim light. The urgency pressed against him. He had to speak. If only he could find the right time, right words to guide this new chapter, to unveil the reality that was about to shake their world. But uncertainty gnawed at him. Would this truth create cracks he couldn't mend? Would telling her change everything still left unsaid? He wrestled with the thought, feeling like the walls were closing in. He shut his eyes tightly, breathing deeply, waiting for courage to spark. What if revealing the truth was the key to healing? Or would it drive them further apart? The night stretched ahead, full of unspoken words and heavy hearts, waiting for a reckoning to unfold. And there it was, that nagging question. Would he be able to face what lay ahead? David sat in the quiet of the living room, the clock ticking softly on the wall. Each tick felt like a countdown, urging him to make a choice. The moonlight spilled through the window, casting shadows that danced like whispered secrets in the darkness. He took a deep breath, hoping to gather the strength he desperately needed. The air felt thick, heavy with memories and the weight of unspoken truths. It was time. He had to confront what loomed between them, that unsaid reason for their move. The house would stand as a silent witness to their past, but it was the future that haunted him now. He glanced down the hallway again. Lily's soft breathing confirmed she was safely tucked in, journeying into dreams of dragons and magic trees. But for David, there was no escape from reality. His hand trembled slightly as he picked up his phone. What if he texted Jenna? Just a quick message to shelve their meeting. But his heart kicked against that idea. He needed this time with Lily, no distractions. No nagging fears seeping through the cracks. With a shaky breath, he pulled the throw blanket tighter around himself. He thought back to his own childhood, the lessons he learned when his parents faced hard choices. He often wished his folks had talked to him about things. But his father had insisted on being strong, just as he was trying to do. He could feel a similar resolve stirring in his chest as if battling two opposing forces, the desire to protect Lily and the need to be honest. He got up and walked to her room. Silently, he pushed the door open, dim light illuminating her peaceful face. She lay still, a little angel lost in her fortress of blankets. "Lily," he whispered, trying not to jolt her awake. "Can we talk for a minute? Just you and me?" She stirred, yawning softly as her eyes blinked open, searching his face. "Dad? Is everything okay?" "Yeah, everything's okay." He was taken aback by the concern in her voice, as if she sensed the uncertainty flashing behind his smile. "I just want to tell you something important." She sat up, pulling the blanket around her shoulders like a makeshift shield. "Is it about the move?" David swallowed hard, feeling his heart race. "Yes, but it's more than just that." "Okay," she said, her brows knitting together as she watched him intently. He hesitated for a moment. This was it, he could feel the weight of the moment pressing against him. "I sold the house while you were away, and I wanted to talk about why." Lily's eyes widened. "But, why?" Her simple question struck David hard, every ounce of courage slipping away as he searched for the words that could capture the depth of his thoughts. How could he explain that their home was tainted with reminders of a life that no longer felt right? "Sometimes, we have to let go of things that hold us back from moving forward," he began, struggling for clarity. "I thought if I sold the house, it could help us start fresh. A new beginning." "But what about all the memories?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "What about our life here?" He could feel his chest tightening. "I know it's a lot, and I'm so sorry if this hurts you." "I thought you thought what?" Her words came out sharper than he anticipated. "I thought it would make things easier," he said, suddenly unsure if he was soothing her fears or igniting a fire. "But I see now how wrong I was." Tears began to form in her eyes, the flickering light casting shadows across her small face. "You didn't even ask me." David's heart cracked open at the pain in her voice. "I know, sweet pea. It was thoughtless and I never wanted to hurt you." Silence hung heavy in the air as they both processed this new reality. David's pulse raced. Would this be the moment they could begin to heal, or a fracture that would widen into a chasm? Just then, Lily spoke quietly, "But what will happen now?" He raked a hand through his hair, feeling deeply the unknown stretching before them. "We'll find a new home, a new place to make memories together. I promise." As hope flickered in his heart, he realized they were both standing at the edge of something new. But suddenly, a shadow of doubt swept in. Could they truly navigate this journey together? His thoughts spun as he searched Lily's face, knowing that beneath her innocence stirred questions that could change everything. But before he could find the right words, Lily spoke again, determination growing in her small voice. "We can face it together, right?" The question hung between them, the gravity of it settling in like an anchor. "Together," David whispered, but uncertainty whispered back. Just how far would their love stretch in this uncharted territory? And as he watched her return to an uneasy sleep, he couldn't help but wonder, what awaited them on the other side of this journey? The morning sun poured into the kitchen, warm and inviting, and David felt a swirl of emotions as he prepared Lily's favorite pancakes. Today was the day they were officially moving out, no turning back now. He had wrestled with fear, regret, and hope over the past few days, but somehow, the aroma of vanilla and butter brought a sense of clarity. Lily trudged in, her hair tousled and eyes still heavy with sleep. She glanced at the kitchen table laden with boxes and piles of belongings, remnants of their life in this house. "Morning, Dad," she said, her voice soft and uncertain. "Morning, sweet pea," he chimed, forcing a bright smile to mask the knot in his stomach. Today was pivotal. They needed to embrace the change together, no matter how hard it felt. As they ate, there was an unexpected air of comfort in their routine. But beneath it all, he sensed Lily treading the water of apprehension, hovering between hope and fear. "Are you excited to see the new place?" he ventured, wanting to spark any flicker of excitement within her. Lily shrugged, pushing her plate away. "I guess, but it's not home." "This is home." The weight of her words sunk in, a reminder of all that was about to be left behind, the memories, the childhood laughter, the essence of everything she had known. David took a deep breath. "I know, and I'm going to miss it too. But we can create a new home together, somewhere filled with laughter, just like we had here." Her blue eyes softened momentarily before clouding with doubt. "But what if it's not the same?" Feeling the familiar surge of protectiveness, he leaned closer, gently touching her hand. "It won't be the same, and I can't promise it will be perfect. But love keeps our memories alive, no matter where we go. That's what truly makes a home." She cracked a small smile, but his heart still ached at her uncertainty. David stood, readying to load up the car. "Let us give this a shot, Lily. We can make a new adventure out of it, remember?" As they finished breakfast, the weight of boxes and packing material filled the atmosphere, yet amid the chaos of their departing home, something beautiful emerged. David felt a shift, her shoulders relaxed just a bit, and acceptance blooming in her heart. "Okay," she said, her voice firmer now. "I'll try." That word hung in the air with promise, their bridge of understanding. As they stepped outside, the air was cool and vibrant, the breeze brushing against their skin like a guardian whispering hope. David loaded the last of the belongings while Lily watched, her gaze sweeping the yard one last time. As she wandered to the old oak tree, memories flooded back, swinging, climbing, chasing fireflies, and he felt his own heart tugging at the bittersweet nostalgia. "Dad," she called out, a cheerful note breaking through the heaviness. "Can we take a picture here?" David rushed over, and, as they both stood beneath the tree, he wrapped his arm around her shoulders. They smiled, capturing a piece of this sacred moment frozen in time. It was a memory that would never fade, no matter how far they traveled. With the last click of the camera, a wave of determination swept over him. "All right, let us go find our new home," he said, the words stronger than ever. The drive was filled with a mix of chatter and comfortable silence, their trust building brick by brick along the way. As they pulled into the driveway of their new apartment, a wave of uncertainty slipped over David. Would Lily find joy here? But as they stepped inside, a spark caught her eye, natural light poured in, illuminating the pale walls and gleaming floors. "This place feels bright," she noted, a small smile tugging at her lips. "Yes. And just imagine, we can paint it however we want," David encouraged, heart racing with hope that they could indeed find joy here. "I've always wanted a room with a mural." "Maybe a sunset?" Lily exclaimed, her earlier hesitation flickering away like candlelight. "Then let us do it. This will be our canvas." As they began unpacking and settling in, something beautiful unfolded. The space began to fill with laughter. Every box they opened was a reminder that they were embarking on a new chapter together, stronger than ever. Their love was the true foundation of home. Later that night, as they sat on the living room floor surrounded by boxes, laughing over their first takeout dinner, David felt a surge of joy like he hadn't in ages. It hit him home wasn't just a location, it was their bond, their memories forged in both laughter and tears. "Dad," Lily said, peering up at him through the clutter, "I think I'm going to like it here after all." His heart soared. She was on board. "I knew you would, sweet pea. This is just the beginning." As they settled in for the night under unfamiliar stars, David felt a comforting glow within him. Change was hard, but together they had the power to create a memorable adventure, one filled with love, acceptance, and resilience. Standing at the doorway of this new chapter, he remembered Lily's words from before, "It's not about the walls, but the love within them." And in that moment, he realized whether it was the old house or the new, love remained their true home. Now, more than ever, they were ready for whatever the future held. If you resonated with David and Lily's journey, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire and uplift. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others find moments of hope. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. Let's chat about transformation. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how love, resilience, and adventure can redefine what home truly means.